Hey guys, well, DeepSeek is back again, apparently. It's been quite a long time since we last heard from the company, ever since they completely wiped the AI marketplace with the R1 model. It's been a little while, and they haven't done anything too interesting yet, but something to show that they're still alive and still around. They just recently, quietly released an upgraded R1 AI model, which is definitely a sign of life from the company, which might indicate that they might release something more interesting soon. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and cover this whole thing. Let's get right into it. Alright, so we're going to start off with this article by CNBC. It's not a very long article, but there's some things I want to point out here. So China's DeepSeek quietly releases upgraded R1 AI model, ramping up competition with OpenAI. Long story short, the company did not make any official announcement, but the upgrade of R1 was released on the AI model repository website known as Hugging Face, which anybody who's messed with some of these models has probably heard of before. It's basically a website where AI companies can go to. Basically, all the big AI companies use it, and it basically lets you upload models for free, or you can pay them to host models privately for you. All in all, it's actually a quite good platform. And basically, DeepSeek went ahead and uploaded their new model to it. And this model apparently is just behind OpenAI's O4 Mini and O3 reasoning models, according to the benchmarking site Live Code Bench. Now, that's actually a pretty big deal, because that means it's like really, really close with some of OpenAI's best models right now, which is seriously impressive. But it does make me wonder, is OpenAI in the not OpenAI, sorry. Is DeepSeek in the works of trying to make an R2 model? Honestly, they might be. They might be in the works of trying to make a newer model, like an R2 model. Because, well, let's be honest. They are, like, the biggest name in Chinese AI right now. They have been ever since they released the model, right? It's like it was one of the best. So if any company is going to try to compete with OpenAI in the AI arms race, it's probably going to be DeepSeek. So it makes you have to wonder, since we got this little sign of life from them, are they going to be making an R2? I mean, it would be very interesting, and I think it might be a very good model at that, but we just have to see. Now, admittedly, there's one other thing this article points out that I would like to cover, because it is a very interesting thing. So, Chinese technology giants Baidu, I forgot how you pronounce it, and Tencent revealed how they were making their AI models more efficient to deal with U.S. semiconductor export curbs. Now, this is something I've heard a lot of people talk about before. Some of it was speculation, but now we have some actual confirmation that a lot of these AI companies in China are taking a different approach to making AI models and training AI models. So here in the West, here in the United States, and some of our affiliated countries that we are like partnered with in regards to this, we have free, no tariffed, no export regulations on any GPU equipment. So you can go ahead and call up Mr. Nvidia and be like, "Hey, Mr. Nvidia, I need like a bunch of GPUs, the best you got." And then Nvidia will give you those GPUs, no questions asked, except for money. But that's a different story. No questions asked, no regulations, no nothing, because you're in the U.S. and they can sell to U.S. customers freely. They'll do like a KYC check on you to make sure you're in the US, and if you are in the US, they'll give you whatever you ask for. If you're in China, though, it's a different story, because we impose trade regulations on China in regards to GPUs. Like, we will still sell semiconductors to them, but not the good ones. We're giving them the not so great ones, like the kind of medium tier ones that aren't like the super powerful, super awesome ones. Just the kind of meh ones. They're not bad, but they're not great. They're not going to give you the edge in the game. So, what some of these companies are doing is instead of focusing on getting progressively better and better hardware, they're focusing on making the AI models themselves more efficient to compensate for the weaker hardware, which is a very interesting approach. So instead of focusing on getting better equipment, they're focusing on making the software better to compensate for the poorer equipment, which is allowing them to get this sort of edge in the game. Now, how long this will last, I'm not particularly sure. There will eventually come a point where China will get up to par with our semiconductors in regards to AI chips. It will happen. Eventually, Chinese companies will wean off of NVIDIA cards and they'll have their own in-house whatever. It's bound to happen. I'm surprised it hasn't fully taken effect yet. But all things considered, it is a very interesting approach. It's a very interesting thing to point out, is how they're going ahead and trying a completely different, very, honestly, very good approach to things that a lot of companies nowadays wouldn't normally do. Most companies, if you've ever noticed this sort of trend, and forgive me if I'm being a little rambly here, but if you've ever noticed this sort of trend where computer specs are getting progressively more and more and more and more ridiculous over time, like Windows itself, like Windows 11 now requires like a ridiculous amount of RAM idle just to run, not run any application, just to run itself. And back then, with like Windows 8 or even the first version of Windows 10, that wasn't so much an issue. So there are some companies are taking the approach of, well, computers are starting to get better, so instead of focusing on trying to compact the software down, we're just going to let it use more and more resources because we don't care as much. Same thing goes with games. Games nowadays are getting progressively larger and larger instead of being small in size because the consumers can now afford it being larger. For example, the latest Call of Duty is like 134 gigabytes or something like that. Because technically the consumers can handle that because we have hard drives that are that are in like terabytes of size now. So some companies are taking the approach of, oh, well, the hardware is getting better, so instead of focusing on trying to compact things down, we can just kind of ignore it and we can let things kind of be large in size. China, at least with the AI race, doesn't have this benefit because they don't have the good hardware. We're not giving it to them for various political reasons. So what they're trying to do is they're going ahead and saying, well, the only other option we have is to compact it down, make the models more efficient, improve the software rather than improve the hardware. And with this approach, they're getting the lead, and it's a very, very interesting thing to see. That is about it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care, you guys, and remember to stay safe out there.